All right, peace, everyone. We are live again. Dynasty Mirror Search for Uhuru. Thank you all. Thank you for joining us. Today's Monday or Tuesday? Today's Monday. No, what's today?
Tuesday.
Today's Tuesday. Man, I'm losing track of the days of the week. Y'all, thank you for joining us this Tuesday evening here in Atlanta. Soon will be Lagos, Nigeria in about 2 weeks. Looking forward to that. So, guys, as you come to the chat room, please hit that like button again. Please hit the like button. Okay. Also, go to dynastymirror.com. Please go to dynastymirror.com and sign up for the email list. Join the mailing list. And guys, tour Sierra Leone. I'm going to be announcing that later on tonight or tomorrow at the latest. But the dates are subject to change. And the reason why is they haven't officially announced the citizenship ceremony, but it's going to be end of November, early December. So I'm going to go ahead and start taking deposits so people can reserve their spots, because I'm only going to take a limited amount of people. So that's what we're doing. That's how we're rolling. We have a special guest on with us today, Brother Brandon, Pan-Africanism Strikes Back. And today, so I was listening to my brother O'Shea Duke Jackson. Shout out to O'Shea Duke Jackson, you guys. And he did a story on, once again, I don't know, this has been happening a lot lately. The sisters in the swirling community catching that thing, as we used to call it, that thing from Bottom Shelf Brad, aka their Snow Kings. But what's more crazier, which really confuses me, is you never hear them call this out, right? You never hear them, in the swirling community, the divest community. You never hear them call these individuals out. So last year, a couple of years ago, we had DJ Kid, right? White guy, Bottom Shelf Brad, who was running around in the black community, swirling, HIV positive, having raw sex with sisters. All right, was finally caught up. You did not hear the divest community talking about this. Then you had the white dude in Kenya, I think it was an Italian cat, running around Kenya, HIV positive, infecting the sisters in Kenya with HIV. All right, going raw. Now we have a new case. Oh, it was Mike Oliver? Okay, Mike Oliver was the one in Africa. White cat, European cat, running around Kenya, HIV positive, having raw bezzling our sisters, affecting them with HIV. And again, you did not hear one member of the divest community, because if this was a black man doing this, if this was a brother doing this, it would have been all over the divest community, the swirl community would have been all over it. But since it's a Bottom Shelf Brad, aka Snow King, Snow God, they're not going to complain about it. They're not even going to mention it. They're staying as far away from this as possible because it goes against the narrative, right? So now we have Gentry Bradley, I think his name is. I'm sorry, Gentry Burns. Gentry Burns. All right, hold on 1 second. Let me go ahead and share the screen. All right, this is from, I'm not a big fan of media takeout, but here we go. All right, here he is. A Caucasian Florida man, 27, who had sex with multiple black women without telling them he had HIV is jailed for only 2 years after 2 women contracted the virus from him. MTO Media Takeout News has learned. Last year, an ex-girlfriend of Gentry Burns, 27, came forward to report she believed she had contracted HIV while dating him in 2013. According to reports, Gentry was active in the interracial dating scene. The victim then attempted to contact other women who were dating Burns in an attempt to warn them. Many of those women were African American. Police later confirmed through medical records that Gentry had been diagnosed HIV positive in January 2014. So now we have another case. All right. We now have another case. This Gentry guy, reckless raw boning these sisters and affected them with HIV. And no, in the divest community, the swirl community has been completely silent about this. And guys, I've told this story before. When I lived in Los Angeles, California, which opened up my eyes, right? I remember sisters, oh, we can't stand Pookie and Ray Ray, so we're going to get us a white man. We're going to get us a Latino man because they treat us good. Let me tell you what would happen. These same sisters would go to Orange County, get ran through by Orange County Brad, get ran through by Malibu Brad, get ran through by, I don't know, Hollywood Brad. And they would just could go in a cycle of getting ran through. They're not getting married. Some will even get pregnant. Orange County Brad will tell them, I don't want nothing to do with you. Orange County Brad will lie and tell them that they had these false careers and tell them they're making all this money. But then when these sisters were trying to get child support, they couldn't get any child support. And now they're single moms to Orange County Brad or East LA Ernesto. Because East LA Ernesto was doing the same thing. Yeah, we had a sister on here who was thinking about moving to Tanzania, who got caught up with an East LA Ernesto, and now she wanted to go to Tanzania. So guys, this happens all the time. You remember that, Brandon? You was on the show. Yeah. Yes. This happens, guys. You don't understand. Like, I witnessed this firsthand in Los Angeles, California. I mean, they were getting ran through and passed through by Orange County Brad, Malibu Brad, Hollywood Brad, downtown Brad, just getting passed through. And it isn't like they were dating up or marrying up. These dudes were usually in a worse position than they were bums. They were the Pookies and Ray Rays of the white community. They were the Pookies and Ray Rays of the Latino community. Then these sisters would get knocked up by them. Brad and Ernesto wanted nothing to do with the kids. And now these sisters are looking stupid. And now is at another level now. Now they're getting affected with HIV from bottom shelf Brad. Snow God, Snow King.
Hey,
I'm not exaggerating. Like, this is real life. Like, this, I used to witness this firsthand. But as they say, white is right. White is right to many of us in this community. But go ahead, Brandon.
Yeah, so this is the age-old story. White is right. White people ice is colder. I'm gonna go get me a white boy because these niggas don't know how to act, quote unquote. But the reality is, I think it's more than just an indictment on women's dating choices. I think it's more so an indictment of, the sexual practices of a Black woman. Because in order for you to get HIV, you have to have unprotected sex. How can there be 700 Black women in the case of this dude,
DJ Kid?
How can there be 700 Black women who are just okay with having unprotected sex with some guy because he's white? It's almost like they thought because he was white, he was immune to disease or he couldn't be HIV positive. Like, that's what worries me. And Dynas, for me, it has a lot of it sheds a lot of insight or light on the situation with even, unwanted pregnancies in our community. What is it about these women to where they have so little accountability? They always say, my body, my choice. It's my body. You can't tell me what to do with it, right? But the minute they catch HIV or they get pregnant and get an unexpected pregnancy, it's, oh, he should have wore a condom. He should have wore a condom. So for people who claim to be such stewards and protectors of their body and their right to do with their body as they please, it seems like these black women are really just like super irresponsible. They're super irresponsible with their bodies and the way they use their bodies when it comes to sex. Somebody said it sounds like prostitution. I don't think anybody on earth, even the richest man ever, has had sex with 700 prostitutes. Like, that's free sex. When you get into those numbers, 700, I was at the club, I was DJing, I'm a celebrity, met some chick, she was down to go back to the room, we had a couple drinks and I beat it up, right? So what I'm saying is, there are certain, like, you're not going to hear 700 Mexican women getting infected by this guy. You're not going to hear 700 Asian women getting infected by this guy. Because and that's true, Dynas. You're not.
Yeah, you just made a great point. You won't hear 700 white women. Or
700 Asians or Mexicans are not that fucking easy to where they're going to jack their legs open for some dude just because he's a celebrity. And that's what's going on in our community. We got too many women willing to bust it open for anybody. They got two criteria. Does this guy have money, or is this guy have fame and notoriety? And that's just, and you want me to tell you, Dynas, I don't even feel sorry for him. Shame on him. Because when you perpetuate a culture where women can pretend to care about their bodies when they want to try to like get some guy on the hook for a baby that he doesn't want, women can pretend to care about their bodies when someone's trying to hold them accountable. They can just throw it on the guy. Well, you should have wrapped it up. You knew you didn't want no baby. It's like, okay, but what about the white DJ who you don't even know from Adam and you met him tonight? So he doesn't got to wrap it up. But but the guy who, you know, you guys might have been talking for a little while, you guys had sex, and the guy's like, hey, I don't want a baby. He has to wrap it up. So I just think it's an indictment of the hypocrisy of black women when it comes to their being these protectors of their body and you know all this stuff that they talk about. Because at the end of the day, the facts don't lie. The numbers don't lie. How did a man infect 700 black women with HIV if 700 black women were not willing to bust it open for this dude? And do you think these women think the girl who came forward, she contracted HIV in 2013. She didn't come forward until damn near 2017 or 18, which means she lived with HIV for several years, right? And then she comes forward. And then she's like, well, let me go warn the other woman. And I'm sure that black woman thought she would be running to white girls and stuff like that. Then she realized, damn, these are all black chicks, right? But what black women do better than anybody else, they love to hide shit. They love to try to blast somebody else about some stuff that they're not doing wrong. But when they get caught behind the 8 ball, they love to hide things. And I'm telling you, Dynas, the reason why nobody discusses it is because they want black males to be the face of HIV in the black community. Oh, it's these black dudes who are gay. It's these black dudes who are. It's these black dudes who are. But this is the reality. HIV is the most transmissible between people having anal sex, right? So if you say it's men on men sex, you could be right. That's something even doctors have told me, right? So it could be right. But here's the problem. How does it leave the anal, the male on male sex category? Well, it leaves easily by women who open their legs up for any Tom, Dick, and Harry. They don't ask about the guy's background. They don't even ask, hey, who were your last 3 sex partners? You know what I'm saying? That's how this stuff gets spread, not just in the black community, but in every community. But Dynas, in other communities, people mostly have sex with people who know people that they know, right? In white communities, Asians, they're kind of like that. Like, oh, she had sex with Brad, and Brad knows her brother or whatever. Asians as well, right? But the thing is, when you talk to black women, they're not going to tell you who the last 3 people they had sex with. They'll tell you last time they had sex with their baby daddy. From the point they had sex with him, oh, I've been celibate 3 years. That's their favorite line. I've been celibate. But they're not going to tell you about the 3 dudes they had sex with straight up out of the club. The last 3 weekends. And that's why I love Jennifer. That's why I love, what's her name? Jasmine Sullivan. I love that album Hotels because I really feel like she exposes a lot of the promiscuous, risky behavior that Black women participate in, but they're able to hide it because the world and society, right, have put this baggage on the Black men. We're responsible for the HIV rate. We're responsible for the unwanted pregnancies. We're the bad guy. We're the villain. It wasn't her fault. She didn't get drunk and tell the guy, give me some dick right now. It's all on us. So I really like her. I like her albums, and situations like this prove it's not just the Black man who's participating in risky sexual behavior in the Black community.
Guys, hit that like button again. Please hit the like button as you come to the chat room. Judy Jones, I think as observer, they have like observer status, something like that, I believe. But Brandon, you made a great point in regards to DJ Kid, this Gentry guy. They're not going into other communities and spreading HIV, but they're able to come into the Black community and do it. So they're not going to Korean, Asian women, Hispanic women, and spreading HIV, but they're easily able to do it to Black women. Like, why, again, can you unpackage that? And sisters, in fact, Judy, Miss Jones, we need your wisdom on here, Miss Jones, because you're balanced and you tell the truth. Miss Jones, I'm going to put the link in the chat room. And Miss Jones, you also are a nurse, I believe. So please, can you call in, Miss Jones? I'm going to put the link in the chat room. Hold on. Let me put the link in the chat room, Ms. Jones, and go ahead and click on a link and call in. We would love to have you on because you would break this down.
And Dynas, let me ask you a question.
Go ahead.
You answer a question for me because I have questions just like you do.
Go ahead.
Why didn't Black women come after this guy who has infected 700 women with HIV knowing he had it?
I'm going to tell you why.
Why didn't they come after this guy like they came after Bill Cosby or R. Kelly? Why didn't they come after this guy like they come after a guy who says something negative about whether Beyonce can sing or not? It's just pure fucking hypocrisy, Dynas.
I'm gonna tell you why. Because it goes against the narrative. Because the narrative is that Black gay men are the ones that are infecting these sisters. So that's why we're gonna go get a white man. Because all the black DL man is what's causing the situation. And so they're going to get white men, and they're not checking anything. And this is happening. Hold on, we got Miss Jones on here. Let's bring her in.
Judy.
Hey.
Hey, Miss Jones, how you doing?
How you doing today?
Hi, Judy.
Good. Can you add to the topic, Miss Jones? Can you bring your motherly wisdom to this?
It's so hard to say because COVID knocked HIV out the box. I mean, and even hospital-wise, we don't see a lot of cases anymore coming in of HIV.
Really?
Even HIV positive, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where they're all going.
Let me ask you this. So, do you think? Because I get tested once a year, right? And so there's a clinic here in Atlanta I go to, and you get tested, and then also too, if the test comes back positive, they could treat you at this clinic as well. So you think now is because you don't even have to even go to a hospital if you contract HIV.
Right.
I think the antivirals are doing such a good job.
Mm-hmm.
They have a lot of antivirals out there, and people taking that PrEP too.
Right. Because so when I took my last test, they asked if I wanted to take the PrEP 2 thing that you're talking about.
Right.
Yeah.
So maybe that's made a dent in the amount of infection rates out here. Mm-hmm. But even as I work on a general medical surgical floor, and I work on a unit that I would see a lot of patients who are HIV or even in their history. And I'm not even seeing a lot of folks come in, even it just in their history. Maybe they didn't come in for that, but it's part of their medical history. And it's rare now that I see someone that either is coming in for full-blown AIDS or HIV positive, or they have it in their history. It's very rare.
Judy, you're from New York, right? Do you still currently live in New York, or you?
Yeah, I live in New York, and so you're from what is known now as the HIV capital of the world, is Atlanta.
Atlanta, the Black Mecca, unfortunately,
Right?
which is sad. Yeah, the Black Mecca, which is unfortunate. But Judy, so let me ask you this: so were you in New York back in the 80s?
Oh yeah.
All right, so like, okay, so you mentioned how you don't see a lot of cases anymore, but I was
Right.
watching a documentary on Studio 54, and they were pretty much saying like everybody that worked in that, excuse my language, that MFer died of AIDS. So you're saying it's the medicine that's
I think now it turned HIV, the antivirals have turned HIV into pretty much a chronic disease. It's
okay?
like having diabetes, hypertension, it's like having one of those diseases. If you take your antivirals, you don't do drugs, you don't smoke, you pretty much could live a pretty relatively long life now with HIV.
Right. And
If
I think
you take your antivirals and you're not out there drugging and you're not having a lot of multiple different sex partners. Because even if you take, a lot of people are under the misconception that if you HIV and you have sex with someone else who's HIV, there's no negative repercussions, but there is, because you don't know what strain of the virus that person has. So you still have to use protection and everything. But up until about 5-6 years ago, we were still seeing a lot of cases come in, and we were seeing a lot of young people.
Oh wow.
Seeing a lot of young Black bisexual males come in with it.
Mm-hmm.
Like in their 20s, 1920s, that age range that they're starting to really experience, have a lot of sexual experiences and everything. So I remember seeing a lot of bisexual men come in, but you're not even seeing them anymore here in New York, at least where I work. And I work at a big HIV. Our hospital was one of the hospitals in the forefront of the epidemic back in the 80s.
Oh wow.
My hospital's right down in the village. So we were like the forefront. So, but we're not, and we had all kind of HIV clinics, and we were part of doing a lot of the early research on AZT and the antivirals. So we're not seeing it. So I don't know. I think the PrEP has helped a lot too. That PrEP.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of people are taking PrEP to avoid, contracting it.
those ARV medications are so good. It's keeping people's viral load low, so you're not having HIV related emergencies. Like where people are having like crazy stuff happening to their body, so they go to the emergency room. What's going on with me? So you're not seeing a lot of that, because I remember back in the day, you would hear like, man, people would have like rashes all over their body. People have like certain types of infections that were like rare. Almost sometimes people would come in with a type of infection that wasn't even heard of. You know what I'm saying? Because the HIV will weaken their immune system so much that they would become susceptible to what is it called, to opportunistic
infection.
Yeah, opportunistic infections. So now that you got the ARVs keeping that viral load down, there's less chance of you catching an opportunistic infection, and there's actually less people who are transitioning from HIV to full-blown AIDS. Also, a lot of people are able to just stay in that HIV window, and so they don't transfer over to full-blown AIDS, which is the full-blown AIDS is what actually kill you. As long as you can keep it in that virus range, then you got a good chance of living a full life. But
so all the multiple admissions that we used to see every year, if you were HIV positive, people will come in maybe 3, 4, 5 times a year. We're not seeing that anymore.
Okay.
And then described it beautifully. It's just because of these drugs that people are not getting as sick as much as they used to. So to answer the topic of your show, I don't see why that's still I don't see how black men are being blamed for this.
But
Right.
the whole thing is, this is how you know that this dude was transmitting HIV purposely. Like, just like that guy Charlie Sheen. Oh, I stopped taking the medication because the medication make me feel X, Y, and Z. It's like, dude, you can switch medications, go to your doctor. He could get you on something that doesn't bother you, right? These guys are purposely spreading HIV. And the sad thing about it, Dynas, is that there are really no criminal repercussions for this type of spreading of these diseases.
Well, the guy Gentry, he got 2 years in prison. And then Charlie Sheen, I don't know. Did Charlie Sheen even get prison time? In fact, let me take that back. I take that back. With Charlie Sheen, they changed the law where it's no longer in California, it's no longer a felony, it's a misdemeanor now.
Right. But that's what I'm saying. 2 years for basically ruining 700 people's lives. And so what I'm saying is, why, my biggest question, and I think this is a question I should ask you, Miss Judy, why is it that the black woman can hold everybody, the black man, accountable for every single thing we do, even something minor and insignificant, but when it comes to this white man, he could pretty much give her HIV or anything else, and it doesn't even make the evening news. You see what I'm saying? Like, why is it hypocrisy, Judy? When they come, this makes me feel like when they come after the black man, they're not even like serious. It's just like, yo, we got an opportunity to like shit on the black man, so let's take advantage of it.
I mean, well, you know, everybody loves to hate the black man. What can I tell you? You know,
I mean, realistically,
everybody loves to hate. You know, let's be real about that.
The only one, so like, you know, you would say, oh, it's no one's held accountable, but it really seems like in the black community, the only person who's held accountable is actually the black man, and the black man,
well, that is true, because women should be held accountable for our sexual choices we make, right? We should be held accountable, because who wants to be sick? Do you want to be sick 4 or 5 times out of the year, in and out of the hospital for something that's, you know, pretty much you don't have to go through it if you just watch who you're sleeping with, or maybe stay celibate,
or maybe at least tell the guy you just met in the back of the freaking club, hey, maybe you should wear a condom. You know, like that's my thing. They have things like PrEP, Dynas, now. If a woman knows she's gonna get out there and bust that coochie open for any dude that buy her 2 shots of Hennessy, maybe PrEP is like, there's too much technology out here. Like with women, there's too much birth control. There's too many types of birth control for you to have an unwanted pregnancy. And the fact that you could just say, well, a man should have wore a condom, it's just you evading it, like trying to escape accountability. And then when you get like something like HIV, they got PrEP. You can say, hey, guy, I don't know you. Let me put on a condom. Because, you know, you leave it up to the black woman, you would think only black men have sex without protection. But we're finding out that that's clearly not true. And I don't think there's any black man who maliciously goes around like, let me go give all these chicks AIDS. You know what I'm saying? Even if a black man is gay, at least he's like, yo, I'm going to go be gay. You feel me? I'm going to go do that. These white dudes are like, they're literally like maliciously spreading HIV. But the black woman who says like, yo, she's on the front lines, she's always protecting the black man, she stayed down for the black man, 700 black women clearly were like, I'm down to bust it open for this white guy. I'm down to let this guy run up in me raw. And then the worst part about it, Dynas, it goes even further, because you can go even deeper into how much no one just really gives a shit about the black man, because I know all those women were probably having some type of unprotected sex with a black man. But no one's going to talk about those guys who may have. Now, it's very hard for a man to catch AIDS from a woman. That's a fact. But the thing is, or HIV. But the fact is,
Judy, say that one more time. It's hard for a man to catch HIV from a woman?
It's harder for a man to catch HIV from a woman than it is from a woman to catch HIV from a man.
Judy, that makes sense? That's true?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
because yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, dude, I've done research on HIV and all that stuff. You know, when you're younger and you do something, you're like, oh my God, I don't want to. So you start going on the Google rabbit hole, talking to doctors and all that stuff. It's true. The number one way to transmit HIV is through unprotected anal intercourse. That's the not saying about gay or nothing, because people do that stuff even if they're not gay. But the thing is the most prevalent is two men with each other, and then the next is male to woman transmission. That's how most stuff gets spread. Some dude who's double dipping, he's bisexual. He goes like, what did Judy just tell you? Mostly she saw what? Bisexual black males. And those dudes are what? Bisexual. They go have sex with a man, then they go have unprotected sex with a woman. Now you got women getting HIV. That's how that spreads, man. Back in the day, it used to be kind of a hush thing because homosexual people put a real lid on that type of science because they were like, oh, it's discriminatory and all this stuff like that. If you ask your doctor, he'll tell you straight up facts.
So how many guys did this? I mean, how many women did this white guy infect?
700.
No. So DJ Kid, he had sex with over 700 black women. They didn't announce the exact numbers. Now, with this guy, Gentry, right now, I think it's like at 4 women. And then there was the white guy in Kenya. I think it was like 10 women.
Right.
But DJ Kid, it was a lot.
700 women. Potential.
Yeah, because he was a white DJ at a black club, and you know, the cool white boy, you know, they
Oh yeah. Bust it open for Brad.
No, but I think now we have to start holding black women accountable too, as well.
right.
I think the day of the free ride of not criticizing black women and black women's behavior is over.
Miss Judy, you must have a son. You have a son?
Yeah, I have a son. I have one son.
Yeah, I think black women with sons, you know, operate like think differently versus the ones who are just will-nilly out here just running wild.
No, Dinus, no. It's not even just that they have sons, because a lot of black women have sons and still perpetuate ignorance. Judy got a job. She has a life. She's not a bum. So those type of narratives of unaccountability are perpetuated by bums. People who don't want shit, don't want to do shit with their life, and just they want to be excused. They don't want to be criticized for that. Judy has a life. She has a great job. She has a career, right? So what happens is when you give all these women excuses for everything they do, it really makes the women who actually worked for what they got, the women who actually, you know, made the tough decisions, although they were the right decisions. It really makes them look like they ain't doing much. If every chick is successful off of welfare and food stamps, it makes a chick who's a nurse or a doctor not look like nothing, because Bonquisha from the projects driving the same Mercedes as Dr. Johnson, who works at Cedar Sinai, is driving. And that's across all genders and races. People who worked hard for what they got do not want to be lumped in the same category with a bunch of people who got stuff based on handouts, begging, and, you know, just laziness.
Well, you know something too, like I worked in an abortion clinic and I've seen repeat offenders come in, like not even a year apart, maybe like months apart. And I'm like, how can you do that? Like,
that you're not being responsible with your sex organs.
I'm in, right? So you try not to pass judgment, like not to be judgmental. But it's hard when you see when they're so cavalier about it. Like to take a life like that, like 2-3 times a year. Like if it's birth control. You know, it's something is not right here. you know. And I've seen, like I've said, I've seen plenty of Black women repeat offenders come in, and they're so cavalier about it. Like, it's not like, well, I'm doing it because, you know, oh, because I got too many children, or, you know, the typical stuff you hear. I can't afford to take care of another child. You know, it's not that. It's gotten to the point now that those are not even the reasons. It's almost like I'm doing it because I can do it.
Right. They're using abortion as a form of birth control. Like, Dinus, you literally have the morning after pill. You have the IUD. You have the shot. You have the loop. You have, God, every type of birth control you could think of. You could even stick a freaking diaphragm up in there. But the thing is, when someone is given every possible option to not get pregnant if they don't want a baby, and they still keep doing it, and then they go in with impunity. They have impunity, right? Immunity too. They just going, I'm gonna take a life like it's nothing. I know a chick who had 16 abortions. Do you know this heifer had the audacity to cry when the doctor told her that she had blood clots throughout her body from getting so many abortions? She had the audacity to cry, Diane. Oh my God, I don't want to die. And I'm not saying if a woman gets to get an abortion, you know, it's her choice. Do I agree with it? I don't. But if you're gonna take, if you can take ownership of your body to go get an abortion, why can't you take ownership of your body in the moment to say, hey, bro, throw a condom on, or hey, bro, give me a ride to the store so I can get that Plan B morning after pill, or hey, bro, I don't know you, wear a condom. Women just are being hypocritical in this instant. They want to do this nasty behavior. They want to do this unsafe behavior. But if men try to tell them, see, this is why society's made situations where men forced women to do things, because men knew women, when they're left unmanaged, they have the potential to just fall into all sorts of ignorant, unsafe practices. You know what I'm saying? Like I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, right? And I was telling him about how there's like bride price in Africa and a lot of. He was like, yeah, but you know, isn't that like degrading women? This guy's from Iran, right? So I'm like, how is that degrading women? This, like, you're putting a price on something that she goes out and gives for free to any Tom, Dick, and Harry, to Brad, bottom shelf Brad, and everything like that. It's like, it's wrong to force a woman to acknowledge her worth, right? But then when she has the results of her behavior and they have a negative impact on her, now that's your fault. So anything bad happens, Dinus, imagine if I tell you, Dinus, I'm a grown man, you can't freaking control me, bro. But then as soon as I go do something, say I go out here gangbanging and I get shot, I can blame you, bro. No matter what you say, I can say it's your fault, and society is going to help me blame you. That's not civilization. That's not civilization. What that is let these animals. It's like you got a herd of wildebeest, like on that movie, The Lion King. Let's make them scared, and they're all going to just run themselves off the side of a cliff. And that's the mode that the Black woman is in. She's going nowhere fast, and she's thrilled to death about it.
Yeah, guys, I just put the link in the chat room. If you want to add to the conversation, the link is in the chat room. Click on the link, and you're more than welcome to join the conversation. All right, go ahead, Ms. Judy.
I mean, I think something's wrong when I have clients who come in and they can tell me like the whole process of my job, what I'm going to do next, and this and that, or ask me where this nurse is. Oh, I haven't, they say something like the last time I was here was like 2 months ago, or 3 months ago, or 4 months ago. I'm like, something's wrong with this picture here. And it's not just 1, 2, 3, or 4 people. I can have 10 to 20 people and have the same kind of scenario, 10 to 20 different women. So I'm to the point now, if they would ban abortion, I probably would be pro for that from my experience. in abortion clinics. I wouldn't lose sleep about it. I'd be like, okay, that's a good thing. They should take away Roe versus Wade, Roe v.
Well,
Wade.
no responsible person would go against. It's like them saying we're gonna get rid of welfare, like Chris Rock said. If they got rid of welfare tomorrow, black folks wouldn't give a damn. Niggas would be terrified because when you're doing what you're supposed to do, you don't look. If you're taking care of your body, right? You don't even need abortion. They got things like the morning after pill. They got all kinds of contraception. Look at Sunnyside. Can you magnify this lady's comment? Sunnyside.
Hold on one second.
Sunnyside with the two sons on the thing. She looks like she's a cute lady, and
Well,
she says,
adoption. Put the child up for adoption.
She says, y'all trying to play the blame game. Our whole society's messed up. We're not trying to play the blame game, Sunnyside. We're trying to play the share the blame game. You ever heard of that? The share the blame game, where the black man doesn't get to carry the baggage of the black woman's bad decisions, where they actually carry that together. Do you understand that? You ever notice when America does something, they never say America bombs another country. They don't say those American men bombed this country. They just say America bombed this country. Because you know why? Everyone shares the blame in America if the country does something against another country. That's how communities work. That's how communities thrive. A black woman like Judy.
Let's face it, 90% of these women that I come across in these clinics, a lot of them shouldn't even be in a relationship that they're in that resulted in that pregnancy. If they would have did their due diligence and really chose better, they wouldn't be there. They wouldn't be in that position. But because we don't make better choices, then we end up on that table. But I don't see how it could end up wanting to be on that table more than 2-3 times in a year. I don't get that.
Diners.
That if you don't know as a man, you never had an abortion. But as a woman, to have an abortion is it's something so, there's a spiritual thing that goes on with that. It's just not a physical thing. The moment that egg is implanted in your womb, there's a whole deep spiritual thing that goes on. And when you go and have that surgically removed, it's not just a spiritual thing from what I've seen. It's something, it's not just a physical thing. Like you just go in and have something sucked out of you. Like, no, there's something deeply spiritual about it. And any woman had one, know what I'm talking about. So for you to go and do that like 2-3 times a year, like it's nothing. Something's wrong. Because it's something spiritual that goes on. This whole birthing process, the whole process from, the moment that egg is implanted and that fetus is growing is, so, and I don't see how you can do that 2-3 times a year, go through that. It's like once should be enough.
Right. It's excessive. Like, that's what I'm saying.
Like, it's a form, and people think, and I'm not just saying this because I'm ultra religious. I'm not like ultra religious. I wouldn't be one of those standing outside the clinic with a sign and all that. That's not my bag. I'm not that person. But if you do that more than once a year, it's like you're really committing murder. I'm sorry, but that's the way I see it. And it's not just a physical thing; it's a spiritual connection.
Diners, you got to put up Sunnyside's comments because
I see her in the comments. I see her in the comments.
Put them up. Put them up
If
so that
you
I
if
can
you
address them.
if you're doing that more than once a year, I think you're spiritually dead.
Look, Judy. So this lady says, my thing is the real issues with society. So here's the thing.
But
I
we
know
are the society. We are the
exactly.
society, the people. We are
Okay, Judy.
male.
If it was
We are the society. What did you
Judy,
talk?
if it was the society, it's like my dad. My dad is in prison for life, right? He could say, I did everything I did because society. I'm his son. I grew up in the same neighborhood he did. And but I didn't do that. I chose to have a family, raise my daughter, all this stuff. If Sunnyside, this is directly to you. If you feel like society is so messed up that that women should have the right to take multiple children's lives just any second they want. 3 abortions in 30 days if they want to, whatever. Those women should then be placed under the care of society, meaning they can't self-govern or self-manage. Because if I go out and keep having unprotected sex in neighborhoods that are crawling with HIV, and I keep getting pregnant with kids I can't take care of, somebody needs to put a chastity belt or something on me because I've proven
Yeah.
that I cannot be responsible with my sexual organs. So when you keep saying, oh, society is the whole issue, and oh, I had an ectopic pregnancy, what you're doing, you're actually the one who's ignorant because you're trying to take something that's a rarity, that is the exception to the rule, and you're trying to make it the rule. What does your ectopic pregnancy have to do with a chick who got pregnant 3 times in 1 year, right? You know, a woman can get pregnant damn near every time she ovulates, right? She then got pregnant 3 times in 1 year, and every pregnancy she got an abortion. And when they asked her, "Do you want birth control?" She said no because that messes up your body, right? This is what they say. That mess up my body. So all these abortions ain't gonna mess up your body, but birth control gonna mess up your body. See what I'm saying? It's like it doesn't make sense. The ends don't justify the means. You know what I'm saying? Like if you love abortions, how did you get 4 kids? So what that means is your decisions are being made based on what's best for you or what's best for the baby. Your decisions are being made post pregnant, like they're being made reactively. Oh, Pookie didn't answer my phone call. He told me he loved me, but he ain't called me in 3 days. I don't think he cares about me. Now I'm gonna go get the abortion. When you laid up under Pookie, you let him do his thing on you. You wanted to get pregnant by him. But when you realize that the pregnancy, that it wasn't going to be the fairy tale that you thought it was, right? Or that you wasn't his only girl, and he told you that he wasn't going to marry you and move in the house and you guys are going to have 2.5 kids with the picket fence, now you want to go make the baby pay for that after you already knew because Pookie got 5 baby mamas. Pookie got 7 baby mamas. And Dinus, what you'll see is in a lot of these relationships, these women don't, it's not a single guy, no kids, works hard every day, and we had sex unprotected or the condom broken, I got pregnant. It's this guy has 5 other kids by 5 other different women. This guy's a local neighborhood drug dealer. This guy's in and out of jail. It just shows it's not about ectopic pregnancies. It's not about safety or anything. It's about I get a do-over when I go make irresponsible decisions, and women are exploiting that, especially and primarily Black women.
No, you're right,
Yeah.
guys. Links in the chat room. Oh, go ahead, Judy. Go ahead, Judy. Go ahead.
No, I was about to say, I mean, I don't see how anyone can argue with what Brandon just said. We are the society, right? She says society, but we are the society. Men and women, people, human beings, we are the society. So we're the ones making these decisions and making these choices. And in order for us to make better decisions and choices, people have to be held accountable. So we're doing, we're holding Black men accountable, but really who's holding Black women accountable,
Right.
for the choices that we make. I remember one client I had, she said that her boyfriend or her husband, her boyfriend, I think it was, told her time and time and again he didn't want any more children. That he doesn't want children. You know, but she wanted children. So I mean, so why would you get pregnant by somebody who told you time and time again that he doesn't want children?
Right. Right. Because it's not about what men want. Black men are not controlling any of this. Black men are held responsible, period. Why? Because if a black man produces a kid, whether he want it or not, and you don't take care of that kid, what does he get put on? Child support. If you don't pay his child support, what happens? He loses his license, he gets his payment doc. If you don't pay that, he ultimately gets sent to jail. That's called being held accountable. Now, what do women get if they have a kid and don't take care of it? Kid go to their mama house or go into child care. Dude, Judy, would you believe I heard a woman the other day talking about I was in line at Food for Less. This lady is standing in front of me. Clearly, she's talking to her welfare worker or something like that, right? She's telling this lady, I don't want a job. I don't want to do security. I want to start my own business. So I can, you know these conversations because I've listened to family members have these conversations. So clearly the worker asked her, so what do you want to do? What kind of business you want to start? Probably to make her realize you're a total moron and you can't start a business because you have no business plan. This girl says, I want to sell weed accessories, weed bags, decorative bags that you put your weed in once you buy it, right? I'm sitting in this line, you got to laugh to keep from crying, right? Because this lady looked like she was about 32 or 33 years old. Our women have been allowed to run loose, unchecked, uncharged, and they need to be brought to heel, to quote Hillary Clinton. Our women are out of control. Unless the black man makes a concerted effort to either control them or abandon them completely and just deal with the ones who want to be civilized and be with black men, right? Guess what? They're going to drag our whole society down with them because what's going on? We're having these bonquishas are literally having 7 and 8 and 9 kids compared to responsible people who got 1 or 2. So what's going to happen is the society is connected. And this is part of my thing for why I tell people, let's go to Africa. Because the Pookies and the Ray Rays are outnumbering the logical thinking black men. The Bonquishas are outnumbering the logical thinking black women. If you got a ship that is so lopsided, so many people on one end, what's going to happen? It's going to capsize. It's going to flip over, right? I have 5 sisters, none married, all with multiple children. Me as the man who is married, I have 1 child. Who do you think is going to control the narrative of this family going forward? My 1 daughter, if she chooses to do the right thing and live a responsible life, or these like 9 or 10 other kids who have nothing as an example except for dysfunction, laziness, and perpetual poverty. That's what's going on. But you got to be honest with what's going on so that you can either fix the situation or abandon ship. And I'm telling black folks, it's time for us to abandon ship. And that ain't just black men. That's black women too. We got to get in these lifeboats. The Titanic is sinking and these Negroes don't even want to bail water. You feel what I'm saying? So let them have their ignorance. Like Les Brown says, the problem with arguing for your limitations is that if you win the argument, you get to keep it. I say black women need to be more responsible with their bodies. Sunnyside says it's society. Y'all attacking black women. Let her hold on to that because those same black women who she thinks she's defending, she would turn on them in a heartbeat if it was a guy she wanted to date and they wanted them too. She would turn on them in a heartbeat if they was at a job and going for the same position. All this is about is avoiding accountability at all costs. Never being that person who can be blamed for anything. Why not? Sunnyside, why not take? Go ahead.
Well, look, Shahrazad Ali. How many years ago was it when Shahrazad Ali wrote that book? The Black Man's
30,
Guide to Understanding the Black Woman.
Like 30 years, 25 plus years.
Right. So 25, 30 years, she tried to give us a head start on what we're going through today, right? But Black women didn't want it. Listen, the majority of Black women, like, shut her down, shut her out, and everything. And the truth be told, I don't think Black men really listened either. I mean, they agreed
No.
with her, but I don't think largely Black men really followed what she said.
I think part of the reason why is it's just black community here in America is matriarchal, and so a lot of Black men were just afraid of the repercussions. But that's changed now because with Kevin Samuels and other content creators, it's just a lot of Black men were just so afraid of the repercussions of siding with somebody like Shahrazad Ali and her train of thought. That's
yeah. I think black men now are like really willing to take hold of the Black family and say, no, we're going to take hold of this. Y'all ruled long enough, and look where we're at. And now we know what needs to be done here, right?
Hey,
So and I think if we would have listened to Shahrazad Ali, we wouldn't be having these kind of conversations, and I think we would have been a lot better off these last 20 years. But we didn't listen to her, and Black women got more successful, more independent, more we're not doing anything wrong and we're doing everything right. Right?
right.
Judy,
And our situation has gotten even worse than even when she wrote the book 30 years ago. So I think now, looking back in hindsight, I think Black men are seeing where they need to go. So now it's like trying, how do you, the Black woman's been in control for so long, how do you take this position away from her? It's like you have to really how do you grab it back? And I mean, do you do it family by family? Like, well, no, if you're going to be with me, I'm in charge of this home. I'm the provider. I'm the protector. We make decisions together, yes, but I have the final word, whether we go left, right, whatever. So I mean, what do you do? How is it going to be done? Or like Brandon said, do you just give it all up and just move back to Africa and just say, okay, forget this battle? But then we're going over there. So there's a lot of us going over to Africa, and we're carrying the same thing. But a lot of us are going over there carrying the same habits, the same beliefs, the same way of the same way that we operate here in America.
But Judy, Africa will weed out the Pookies and Ray Rays. Trust me, because Africa. Well, I'm gonna tell you why. Africa doesn't have all these safety nets like everybody like America does. Look at all the people who go to Africa now. They make videos. Why I don't like this country and why this and that. And then where they end up back in the. Look at like certain people. I'm not gonna mention it. But these people will leave Africa because once they realize Africa is not going to carry them and give them financial support so that they can be stubborn and combative in their dysfunction, they're going to leave. Because what's the number one thing that Black ignorance needs to survive? White people's money. Black ignorance can only survive on white people's money. Section 8 housing, AFDC welfare, food stamps, electronic benefits transfers. If you take that away, Judy, how do these people survive?
Is there abortion clinics in Africa?
They got them.
There are abortion clinics, but guess what? The country ain't gonna pay for you to get no abortion. You gotta pay for that. And then on top of that, guess what? You go get pregnant. Okay, What you gonna do? Go pay for abortion or go eat dinner tonight? You see what I'm saying? I love Africa because it's like it's not gonna carry you. It's not gonna sustain you. You have to sustain yourself. In America, just like Thomas Sowell said, one generation of welfare destroyed the Black community. One generation of welfare did something that 400 years of slavery couldn't do. Destroy the Black family. Under slavery, a Black kid in America grew up in a 2-parent household. 400 years of slavery, you still have mama and daddy at home. Under segregation and Jim Crow, a Black kid in America grew up, the majority grew up under what? A 2-parent household. Bring in the 70s and welfare. One generation. And you saw that destroy the Black family. Don't say it was crack cocaine. It wasn't crack cocaine. Crack cocaine, a lot of Black men did very well during the crack epidemic. And Dynasty, this is kind of deep, but I just want to drop this little jewel that a lot of people aren't going to realize. If a person sells dope to feed their family, they still got
crack cocaine just finished the job. That's all.
But look at this, Judy. Listen to me on this one. If a man has to sell crack cocaine to feed his family, that means he has what? A family, right? But when the man went to sell crack cocaine and the woman could bring in welfare, food stamps, Section 8 housing, the money that he was making was no longer necessary. So what he could then do is go spend that money on excesses of life, cars, rims, fancy clothes, all that stuff, right? He buy the woman a little something too. She likes it. Ooh, baby, go out and keep doing it because I want to have a mink coat and all that. You saw Paid in Full, Diners.
Yeah.
Then when he gets busted and goes to jail, she could say, oh, it's because of, the crack epidemic. No, it wasn't. And Sunnyside is living proof of what I'm saying. No accountability. The minute you start telling the Black woman, look, man, we're all at fault, but share some of the responsibility. Let's talk about a little bit of the ways you perpetuated this, right? I don't want to hear it. The ears are clogged, right? But here's the thing. It's like my grandma used to tell me, baby, it's going to tell on you before you tell on it. And that's what's happening. It's telling on y'all. Y'all behavior is now telling on y'all. What's done in the dark, what was done under the shadow cast by white supremacy is now coming to the light. Your slip is showing. It's the age of information. It's the age of technology. You can't hide it no more because we're now recording it and putting it in your face. And let me tell you something. If you can't look at the information and come to the conclusion that, you know what, we need to be more accountable and start spreading that message among your sisters like the gospel, you're doomed. You're done. Because I'm telling Black men already, go to Africa and find you a woman. Don't sit up here arguing with these women up in America to do something that every other group of women in America is doing. Go find you a woman who wants to have a family, who wants to be part of a family, who wants to have a prosperous life, who is appreciative of what you have to offer. Because a lot of these women, these Black women in America, they've spent so much time on the welfare system, Section 8 housing, EBT, electronic benefits transfer. They just don't even know how to support themselves or to be with a man and work together to make a productive future. They just can't. They just can't. It's always, oh, it's the crack epidemic. Oh, it's the absent father. No, man, absent father didn't walk you into the abortion clinic. He didn't do that. Absent father didn't make you bust it open for some DJ at the club who had AIDS. That's not on the Black man. That's on you. But you will love to help society put it on you if it removes you from guilt and accountability for your own action. And that's not going to happen anymore.
Guys, hit that like button. Again, we'll take one more caller. Link is in the chat room. If you'd like to add to the conversation, you're more than welcome to add to the
No, tell Sunnyside to come on. since she knows so much.
No, hold on. Sunny
Look,
side.
we are doomed.
Salt of the earth. Salt of the earth. Okay, so salt of the earth is saying black men are under the butt cheeks of white men. That's why the community is messed up. What are your thoughts on that comment, Judy, from a woman, Miss Jones, from a woman? What are your?
Oh my God! Is she kidding me? Is she kidding me? Did you see that video? That little Nas X video?
Yeah, no, I haven't seen it. I'm not.
Have you seen it?
I'm not watching that.
Oh
I've
my
heard
God!
it.
We are so doomed. We are so doomed. I don't even think we realize how doomed we are as a people. If we realize how doomed we are, that last comment you just asked me what I thought about, we wouldn't even be making those kind of comments. But we don't really realize how doomed we are. We are very doomed. I saw that video and I was like, oh my God. That is like, I mean, that video just has so many messages. And for young people to see that is like, young black folks to see that, male, female, it's like, what the hell is going on here? I was like lost for words. So, yes, well, somebody got to rein us in. I don't know who it's going to be. I always have this vision of the black man leaving the Democratic Party in droves. You know, that's my vision as far as politics, political. I think the black man is just going to have to step up and just take hold and take reins.
Hey, let her come in.
I really do.
Well, the link's in the chat room. Click on the link and she can come in.
Put it again so she can see it because she said she gonna call in.
Okay, click the Sunny side. Click on the link, Sunny side, and you'll be the last caller.
What you put in the east side?
I really do. That's what I think and I feel. Otherwise, we're just doomed. We're doomed. We're doomed.
My thing is like this: separate from.
We're doomed.
We need to separate from these people because at the end of the day, we're not like the same in that sense. Like we just think different. And as long as you keep sitting next to a bunch of people, Sunnyside, just click the link that he put in the chat room, and it's gonna lead you in.
Nah, man. So I can see it's like the ones who it's the ones who talk the most in the chat room can't even click a link to come on. Like the ones who talk the most in the chat room, click the link. It's in the chat room. How do I get on? Click the link. It's in the chat room. Where's the link? You know, it's always that. That's always the situation or the excuse. But okay, here we go. All right, so there's one called Love with a Heart. You guys got to connect your devices so you guys can come on. Okay, she's driving now. Okay, all right.
Crash your car. The thing is, Dinus, it's like, look, it's like this, man. They can say whatever, but you know, if a person really wanted to do better, a person wouldn't look at the messenger. They would look at the message. A real responsible, mature adult can reflect. They can step outside of themselves for a minute and say, let me see if there's any truth to what this person is telling me, right? A person who is immature, they're going to just shut themselves off from any type of correction, right? So this is when you got the woman, hey, look, you got one kid. Maybe you should try some type of birth control because you can't even barely take care of this one. He always at your mama house. You feel me? Ah, this and that. Ooh, now, anyway, so yeah, and also these people are very dramatic, Dinus, drama queens. All they can do is operate in anger and you this and that and all this stuff. Look, here's the thing: don't call in. Look, she needs you to post the link again. Why not just listen and learn? Then go spread what you learned, twist it, tweak it to be more palatable for your sisters, and then go tell it to them. Shahrazad Ali gave women a lot of good information. But because black women are opposed to information that they don't want to hear, not only from black men, they're opposed to it from black women as well. Because when a black woman comes with the same information, they turn on that person. You see people like Cynthia and stuff, oh, pick Misha. She's a pick Misha. So basically, a black woman who's operating functionally, who's functioning in a healthy capacity is now looked down upon. And that's when you know that your society is headed in the wrong direction. When someone doing what they're supposed to do is now suddenly the enemy or they're ostracized, you understand that your society has evolved for the worse. That's why I keep telling people the best thing Black America can do. Go ahead.
But you know, I find it pretty strange. I'm around a lot of different ethnic groups, right? And I look at Indian women. I don't see this argument among Indian women, right? They seem like they take on their role without much complaint. You know, they have arranged marriages somewhat. You know, they do their duty by their parents and their husband and their children. And I don't see all this gender fighting among Indian women. Spanish women, the same thing. I don't see all this fighting among them. You know, they take on their role as part, you know, as the matriarch in the family. They have their husbands, their kids. And I don't see a lot of this gender and fighting among them. I only see it with Black women, and in particular, Black American women. The truth be told, I don't even see this fighting among Black women from the Caribbean here in this country, or even African women. We don't hear all this arguing back and forth and gender fighting. So I don't know what it is about the Black American woman that we have this disconnect with our men, and that we have this infighting with our men. I don't see it with any other group of women. And I used to travel to India every year for the last 5 years. So I know that culture very well. And you don't see that. I mean, I'm like, they have their issues and their problems. For a large degree, you don't see all this infighting.
Yeah,
And it's like, we're the only ones. We're the only ones. And if other people have this, if they do have this fighting, they keep it under wraps. It is very well kept under wraps. But I don't think it's there for the most part. Not like it is in our community.
Rissy Poo, go ahead, Rissy Poo.
Well, let me say this first before we start this conversation. I'm not the type of woman to bash Black men. I'm not on social media making posts against Black men and talking down on Black men. But I just want to say that because a lot of people in the comments think that every woman that comments, that's what type of energy they are on, but I'm not. I was just saying, how is this relevant to the Black society and our real issues? Abortions. How does this change what the problems that we have going on in society? So you mean to tell me if we stop getting abortions, then everything will magically just be better? That's what you're saying, right? I'm just saying, like, this topic is about abortions. It's not about anything else. So, like, how is this supposed to make our society better?
We're saying that if people stop, look, abortion stems from a certain way of thinking, right? So if Black women's way of thinking changed, or they did what they had to do to get their thinking corrected, you would see less abortion. So what we're saying is this: when you do go get an abortion, why are you doing that?
Okay.
Why are you the number one? Let me ask you a question.
I've never had, the only abortion that I had was a forced abortion when I had an ectopic pregnancy, and I had to go into the hospital. No less than 30 minutes later, I was in surgery. So other than that, no, I've never had any abortion. I've never been pregnant outside of that other time. So I mean, this is not an issue with me. This is not an issue.
So
do you
so
believe
it doesn't apply to you?
I wouldn't say I've never experienced this, and I don't think this applies to me. If this is nothing I've never experienced, it's nothing I've ever went through. I don't think I'm ever going to go through it.
Okay, let's not retreat into shameless individualism, right? Because this is about the whole society. What I want to ask you is it okay? Do you feel it's normal for a Black woman to go in an abortion clinic 4 times a year getting an abortion?
Okay, this is what I'll say about this, because I know somebody.
Do you feel like that's normal?
Let me say this. I have somebody that I'm related to that's done this not 4 times a year, but maybe once a year in the last 4 years. And in her situation, when she did
it, so she proved that I wasn't.
It was never an issue of, you know, I don't know who my baby father's is. You know, it was always an issue of, I don't want to bring my child into a situation where I'm not financially prepared to deal with this. It was never by multiple men. It was always by the same person. It was something that they both discussed, and it was just, you know, it wasn't a big issue. But I don't think that.
So we're killing a baby. This is what I'm trying to tell you.
See,
so we're killing a baby once every year.
Let me say this. I think that we put too much emphasis on what people do with their personal lives.
See what I'm saying? This is what I'm saying. You're jumping into a conversation about the society, and then you're trying to take individual experiences in your personal experience. I want to ask you a question. As a Black woman, right? You drive, so you have intelligence. You have the ability to think. You don't see anything wrong with your grown-ass relative going in to get an abortion once a year. Wait, let me finish the question. Her and a whole grown man can't figure out how to have sex without it resulting in a baby, then going to get an abortion. You don't see anything wrong, dysfunctional about that?
I don't agree with the methods, but I don't put energy into trying to dictate whether somebody's right or wrong.
No one's dictating to them. Listen, Reese, if you say I hate fat people, I wouldn't say shit to you because I don't give a damn what you think. But we're saying our opinion, and it's bothering you. So stop talking about you don't want to.
That's what I want you to understand. What you're saying is your opinion. You know, your opinion really isn't going to make things better. You know, like your personal opinion about how someone chooses to live their life, it really isn't going to make our situation better.
No, you, for one, listen, you're not intelligent enough to actually say that, because do you know how many people watch YouTube and listen to people say things and they are inspired by that to change their life? Wait. Have you ever been
about Black women though?
Have you ever been to church before, Reese?
Yes, I grew up in the church.
Okay, so
my page, you need to check out my channel. That's what it's about.
Okay, listen. When you go to church, all you're listening to is the pastor's opinions on what the scriptures say. A lot of people go and fall asleep and they get nothing out of it. Now, other people take what's being said to heart and they go make changes in their life based on those things. And many times it's for the better. So when you say, so what you're saying is this: don't say anything about this, because you're saying that because you would never change anything about what you do based on what I say. No one else will. That's what you're doing. So you're actually doing what you accuse us of doing. You're limiting everybody. You're placing your limitations on everybody else, and that's not fair.
That's the thing. That's why I'm glad you brought up religion, because it's the thing. Religion is a limited idea, and it's full of limited concepts, and they make people believe that your value. They make you believe your value on earth is important than the energy that you exhibit. So if we're talking about religion and stuff like that,
you're moving the goalposts. We're not talking about religion. You brought up
going to church and listening to the pastor and falling asleep and all of this stuff. What does that have to do with abortion?
What it has to do with abortions is, even though you may go to church and not get shit out of it, another person could be sitting in the same room as you and take a totally different message from the things being said. That's what it's about. So what
that's the root of our whole problem, though. Religion. I mean, honestly, it's
not talking about religion. We talking about a message. We're not talking about God, Jesus, none of that. Stop putting down religion, because religion ain't got nothing to do with your cousin going to an abortion clinic and aborting babies every year.
It really does with our society, though. That's
No, it doesn't.
yes, it
Stop
does.
putting on religion.
What
doing that.
black people are in the Bible?
The Bible says, listen, Reese, the Bible says thou shalt not kill. That means thou shalt not get an abortion. Religion's trying to help you. But y'all going clear past that.
Christianity has nothing to do with black people. So you don't spit no Bible to me, because listen, we are not in the Bible. So that's not pertaining to us.
Okay, so this is either neither here nor there. The point I'm trying to get you to explain to me why what we're saying is stupid and what you think is
what you're
correct.
saying isn't going to make anything better.
Okay, and why not?
Because you're just giving your opinion.
You said what?
You're just giving your opinion. You're just addressing the problem. You're not talking about solutions. You're not talking about how to make it better.
Do you invest in stocks? Do you invest in stocks?
What does that have to do with abortions?
I'm going to make a connection. Do you invest in stock?
I mean, I don't see what that has.
Okay, so now I'm going to show you. If you go invest in stocks, you can hire someone who's a investment manager, right? Who's a funds manager. Mm-hmm. They give you you go and you bet on their opinion, right? You say they tell you what they think you should do. You do with your money, and either you're going to make money or you're not. All we do in society, every great invention, that weave that y'all paying $300 for, that was based on someone's opinion. That was
you're bringing up all this stuff. Like, I mean,
was that based on opinion or not?
Why is this important? Why is weave important?
Because you're saying that opinions don't matter. Listen,
is weave a topic and a problem? When
you have a lot of questions, but you don't want to stop talking long enough to hear the answer.
I gotta go.
Everything you're doing is based on someone else's.
Could I call you back? Could I call you back?
Okay. So if you gotta go, you can listen, right? If you gotta go, you can listen. So what I'm saying is everything you're doing is based on someone's opinion. The car you're driving right now is based on someone's opinion. The way you drive it is based on someone's opinion.
What are you talking about? I live my life based on me.
Did you decide whether you was gonna drive on the left side of the road or the right side of the road?
That is the problem. We all live our lives based on me, and that is the problem. That's part of the problem.
Reese. Okay, so basically,
hold on. Let me get Kale's Rain on here. Kale's Rain, go ahead. Kale's Rain, you gotta mute yourself.
Hello.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Damn. Dinus. Is there another Jason Pope running around here? I saw Jason
who?
Jason Pope. You know, the guy that was having sex with all the black young girls and women and infecting them.
You talking about DJ Kid?
DJ Kid. Yeah, I get confused.
Yeah. So there's another situation that happened in Florida.
So
white man.
So this man infected 2 black women that they didn't know they had. Go. You say something?
No, go ahead. Yeah.
Right, infected 2 black women, and they're out here having sex with everybody else, including that man spreading this HIV. Am I right?
I don't know about that far. All we know is that a white man with HIV was infecting black women with HIV.
So, what outcomes brothers want from women that protects Mr. Charlie, aka Zaddy, if he's doing this?
What outcome?
What outcome you want the black woman to
I'm not expecting an outcome. I'm expecting, like, the outcome is you stay over there, I stay over here.
Okay. Do you agree with that Pan-Africanism strike back?
I believe. I'm expecting.
My outcome is they separate from us.
What we're doing is we're pointing out the hypocrisy. So, like, you have all these people, black people. We are incredible fence straddlers. We like to have one foot on one side and one foot on the other side. And then if you speak against the things that we like on one side, we attack you. If you speak against the things we like on the other side, we attack you, right? We love to stay in the middle so we don't have to be responsible if we choose a side and that ends up not working out. What we're saying is Women like Reese Poo literally have the ability to go into the doctor's clinic. Y'all just heard how ridiculous this woman sounded. She can decide to reproduce kids and abort. She can get pregnant and abort children as many times as she wants with impunity. And then we wonder why the society is going downhill. She says it's a societal issue. She's the issue within our society. People like her. Because I guarantee you, she got 3 or 4 running around when ain't no daddy around, right? Because I can tell by the way she thinks. In her mind, other people's opinions don't matter. And that is the first thing you have to convince yourself of before you go make a ridiculous ass decision. It don't matter what other people think. So you can go in and abort baby after baby after baby. You can go bust it open, Brad. That's it. Logical people care about the opinions of others.
Can I say something, Brandon?
What
I got out of that conversation you just had with the sister, was this. And when I look at other communities, whether it's Latino communities or Indian communities, what I see is people who still have the understanding of what I do as an individual affects the whole community. Not just me, not just my family. I still see them largely with that kind of mentality. Even Jewish people, Jewish community, the same thing. We're the only community that thinks so much on this whole individual thing. As an individual, your opinion, that kind of thing that, we're just operating like we don't operate and think about the community. I remember something Gladys Knight said, that when she was coming up, and even all those old entertainers, Gladys Knight, Ruby Dee, a lot of them, they always thought whatever they did in the entertainment field, or that they were representing Black people, that they didn't want to take on any role or do anything that would shame the community. Black people as a whole. We don't do that to the wayside. Like that's not important anymore. Just do you. Do you. Be happy. Do you. It's like the mantra, the philosophy. Like we don't have to hold ourselves accountable to our community. The choices we make, the decisions, our behavior, it's just like we threw all that to the wayside. And that's all I kept hearing as she's talking. Like there's nothing communal about anything that she said. Like you don't have to hold yourself accountable to a larger community. Just do you.
Go ahead, Bazira.
And I agree with Miss Judy.
And that's one of our problems. That's one of our major problems.
Okay.
And we threw that away and gave that up.
I agree with Miss Judy 100% because unity in the community starts with self. If you don't unify yourself from inside, what you are expressing, we think it's just outside, but it are the things that take place with inside you. And what you do as an individual does affect the community as a whole. And what I mean is, prime example, prior to getting on here, I was in my room reading. I couldn't read simply because the gentleman next door, he wanted to blast the music as loud as he could, as if he was in the out in the club somewhere. And because I went outside and addressed him, he got angry about that. And all of this stems from, and this is no negative toward the woman. What we learn from what our mothers have taught us. And our mothers learned from what their mothers had taught us. But there is, in each one of us, there is a sense of knowing that something is wrong. No one has to tell you that. So we as women, there's only one race, and it comes through the melanated woman, and she must be able to rectify herself and examine herself as what she do on a daily basis and how it is affecting her and her family. And from a mother who has a daughter now, I had to explain to her last year that when you shake the hand or agreement to anyone, I don't care who it is, business, friends, you are agreeing to any bullshit that they do, even if you don't even know they did it, because once you shake their hand, you that is agreement. So whatever that's in that person's life do reflect on you. And so what I'm saying to every woman on this panel, we must go back and redefine who we are and who are we becoming, because there are young women who are sitting there watching us. So, and it is about, we are as a nation, not individual. We are a nation. And I don't say black because I know what the word means. We are melanated women, and we set the tone. See, everyone wants to be like us, but we don't want to be us. And so what that young woman said, there is some confusion in her ideology, because if she was a woman, a womb man, she would have had a conversation with her cousin and say, don't you see something wrong with what you're doing? We are afraid to speak out. Now, because I went outside that door and said something to that boy, I'm gonna keep saying it until he get tired of me. We don't speak up, whether it's right or wrong, and we can't straddle the fence. It's either yay or nay.
Absolutely. Hey, this is what we're gonna go ahead and start closing out. Let's do this. Kales Rand, anything else you want to share in closing?
The only thing I want to say in closing is that a lot of things have happened in this community. I think America is sacred ground for women overall. Outside America, there is very little problems with this about abortion, people holding themselves accountable. Men have some power to a degree. Only time I find it is when we hear in this soil we call North America. And we don't know what happens when they use these type of tactics and strategies as a breeding ground to see how they can control people, not only in this land, but globally. Because the whole end game is to reduce the population, obviously. So they're going to do everything possible to make this happen. And we all know there's more there's more black people, or people that's colored than everybody else. So they're going to work on us first, then everybody else last. That's how I see it. Thank you, guys.
And also too, we have to look at the meaning of words, because words, when we voice out and speak out a word, we got to understand what the meaning of the word color. That words don't mean what we have perceived it to be. We have to look up words and see what that means. That word color means to conceal, which means that we are concealed. We under a color code until we understand that this is not the United States of America. This is a corporation. The land is Morocco. We need to wake up. We need to identify who we are.
All right, but I love you to death, sister, but we go on left field now.
I was just responding to what he had said, because he went on left field, and I went to respond on his left field to bring him back to understand that this whole thing is about knowing who we are as a race, and not as a race, as a nation. Race don't mean it's a nation.
Got you, Mr. Zero. Pan African Brand, anything else you'd like to share in closing?
I wanted to just use what she brought up as far as the neighbor blasting the music, right? You notice how, when you got people who have common sense, right? Whether we believe we agree with each other on different things about nation and all that, that's besides the point. But on the fundamental principles of community, right, Dinah? When she talked about her neighbor blasting this damn music so loud that she couldn't even hear, she couldn't even focus on reading her book, right, or listen to the show, everybody on the panel thought, you know what? I hate when people blast their music so loud that nobody that I can't hear, watch TV, read, focus, nothing, right? You didn't hear, the guy was wrong. Dynasty, would you agree the guy was wrong for blasting his music ridiculously loud?
Right.
Okay. I say he was wrong. Dynasty, you say he was wrong. But Sarah, she know he was wrong. Now let me tell you what would have happened if this was a black, if Basira was a black man and we were two black women and she got on here and she got on here talking about a black woman doing blaster music. The black women would have tried to make every excuse in the book why Basira was wrong for going to tell that lady to turn her music down, right? Oh, what if she's a music producer? What if she's a
no! It was a young man. It was
no.
He's just saying if
okay, I got you.
See, that's the biggest issue with our women in the United States. They will defend any type of behavior as long as they feel like.
We saw it with Sha'Carri Richardson.
Yeah, they'll defend any type of behavior if they feel like it's defending women, right? And that's the detriment of your society. That makes your society go to the end. Like that makes it fall down. Because what these black women are saying is we're above the rules of society. And no one's above the rules of society, and no one's above the rules of nature. When black women go get all these irresponsible abortions, not talking about the ones for rape and the less than 1%, which is ectopic pregnancies and rape, right? But when you guys have these abortions, you're actually saying I'm above nature because my natural processes, I'm able to counsel them. I'm able to push the abort button, even though I abused my natural functions, right? They say they're above nature. Then they say we're above society. But let me tell you this, Dynasty. A black woman could do all this stuff, but let the police walk in the room and say, ma'am, lay down on the ground, face down, with your head spread and your legs spread wide open. She could be butt naked, Dynasty. Butt naked. If a man did that, that would be called sexual assault. If the police walk in and tell her, get your ass on her, what does she got to do, Dynasty?
Get down on the ground and shut up.
So what the black woman is living in right now is a state of delusion where she's allowed society to convince her that she is above the rules that govern society. But in reality, she's not. So when the black man is telling her, look, man, you need to get back in line because what you're doing is not only hurting us because there's strength in numbers, which is natural law, but also you're putting a target on yourself where they're going to come and start coming after you. She don't want to listen. And her excuse for not listening is, oh, the issue is with society, not realizing that individuals make up society. So if you correct the individual issues, the society will do much better, without a doubt. But that's pretty much all I have to say. And that girl, Reese, she trying to come back in. You need to go have a conversation with your cousin and take some accountability lessons. I want to see your damn high school test scores because I know they weren't that good.
All right, y'all. Everyone, thank you so much for joining. Like, share, subscribe. Until next time, family, Dynasty Search for Huru. Peace.
Peace.